Happy Wednesday, everyone. John Lorden here with another story, kind of recent in the headlines, and one that's leaving me with a few very big and hard to answer questions. Let's take a look at this together, starting with this picture. This is the family of Toyin Amuda, and he is over on the left standing next to his brother. Toyin has unfortunately passed away in a way that some people are looking at saying something really terrible has gone on here. Other people might look at and say it's tragic, but it looks like it's an accident. Just a few months ago, this family was celebrating 18-year-old Toyin graduating from high school in Oklahoma, lined up to go to Oklahoma University, and now instead they've just gotten past a memorial service and are trying to figure out their lives without him going forward. Let's go ahead and look at the media that we could find on this. And I do kind of want to highlight that a lot of the articles I'm finding are starting a little bit late. Like typically an occurrence like this would happen, you might have articles that literally kick out the next day, maybe next few days. It seems like about a week before the basics of this case start to float around. Over here at KFOR.com, the sheriff's office received a call at 2:28 a.m. on June 16th about an 18-year-old male found unresponsive in the swimming pool of a residence. A sheriff's office incident report states that deputies arrived at the home and found Deer Creek firefighters administering CPR to Amuda. EMSA later arrived and assisted firefighters in attempting to revive Amuda. They pronounced him dead at 3:11 a.m. Another article over at KFOR, Lieutenant W. Fretz of the sheriff's office spoke with the homeowner who said that he was in bed when his daughter came in and told him that a boy was in the pool. He said he went outside and found that individuals at the home, the ages of whom were not provided, pulled the victim out of the water and laid him on the deck next to the deep end of the pool. The homeowner said he performed CPR on the victim until Deer Creek firefighters arrived and took over. Just to give you guys some more context to this seems like it was a teenage party that was happening at this home with the pool. Quote, I asked him if anyone here was drinking and if there was any alcohol here, and he stated not to his knowledge, Fretz said in the police report about the man that the homeowner that came down and found this scene. The house is equipped with cameras, but the cameras had not worked in about 2 years, the homeowner told Fretz. Fretz said that he walked around the backyard and found 2 empty beer cans on the hot tub, a small plastic empty vodka bottle, and an empty Jell-O package on the ground next to the patio kitchen. Obviously, for any of us that have had Jell-O shots before, I mean, those are pretty much the 2 components for Jell-O shots. He said he also found at least 3 areas around the pool where it appeared someone had vomited. Investigators also located 2 garbage receptacles in the home's driveway filled with empty beer cans and assorted liquor bottles. Investigators are looking into whether foul play could have led to Amuda's death. That's one of the very early questions about this. We have some kind of party going on here. We don't know how many people. Seems like there might be some underage drinking that's going on. How does one of the people at the party wind up in the pool, drowned in the pool effectively? Did other people see what was going on? Did no one notice that he wasn't around anymore, that he had disappeared from this party? Was it too many people for them to have noticed that? We're going to try to answer some of these questions as we go forward, but I can tell you there's online discussion that's even going farther than that. There's some people that are saying maybe there's something very bad that happened here. Like someone could have pushed him into the pool. Maybe he didn't know how to swim. Did someone see that he was in distress and didn't attempt to help him? There's a lot of really big questions that are floating around this case. And the exposure, I've kind of hinted at it a little bit in this video already. The exposure is kind of tempered, let's just say, with this case. And I think it's something that really should be talked about, regardless of what side of belief you're on with this. If this is underage drinking, terrible, tragic accident that happens, we need to have that conversation. We need people to know Toyin's story. If it's not that, and there is something nefarious that's going on here, we certainly need exposure raised. We need to try to help this family find justice. Both of those causes, I think, should be bringing this story more to the forefront. I'm honestly not really seeing it. I did have people that reached out to me on Twitter. I just want to thank them for kind of hooping me in, making me aware of this. And I'm kind of trying to do that with all of you as well, so we can rally around this. Look, this family needs support one way or the other. They need empathy, they need support, but they might need support in terms of a search for justice, more information, tips to get called in. There's a lot of different levels to this. On the afternoon of June 16th, the homeowner contacted the sheriff's office and asked that a marijuana roach be collected from his backyard. So it seems like he later found that there might have been marijuana at this party as well. I believe Oklahoma is a legal marijuana recreational use state at this point. Toyin Amuda, a beloved former Deer Creek student and homecoming king. I know he was so much more than that. Unfortunately, these news stories really aren't fleshing out a whole lot about who he is. There is a very touching video that his family has put out. They've all gotten together. His brother speaks for most of it. His father does speak in it also. But that really gives you a bit of a better sense about who Toyin is. This is a guy that one of the stories his brother tells is that he needed help getting into a new house. He needed someone to help him paint, and Toyin was right there. And now he has a particular door that he remembers Toyin painting, and whenever he's walking by that door, he can't help but think and remember his brother and how helpful he was, how this family really supported each other. Authorities told KOCO5 they are aware of the social media threads going on that claim someone pushed the 18-year-old into the pool and left. So we're getting just a little touch of kind of the social media discussion that's going on around this case, even popping up in a news source like KOCO here. Continuing over to KTUL.com, manner of death in Deer Creek teens drowning changed to pending. This is from June 24th. The Oklahoma County Medical Examiner's Office has confirmed the manner of death has been changed to pending. Officials say the death was initially listed as accident. They do note that drowning is the cause. Our physician has changed the manner to pending until the case is finalized, a spokesperson for the OCME's office wrote in an email. The Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office also released 911 calls from the incident. I'm not going to play the calls here. I believe it is the homeowner that's been discussed. I believe it's his wife that is on the phone in severe distress throughout all this. And effectively, the 911 operator has dispatched services there, and she's trying to make sure that they are doing CPR at the right count, at the right tempo, just trying to talk them through it while emergency services arrives. It's a very, very tough 10 minutes to listen to, but of course I'll have all the links in the description box down below if you do want to listen to it for yourselves. Over at news.yahoo.com, an Oklahoma community is calling for answers. As community members wait for the truth to surface, they started an Instagram page in Amuda's memory to raise awareness. The page is called Justin for Toyin Amuda and has garnered more than 2,700 followers. I think it's over 3,000 now. Quote, Toyin Amuda just graduated this past May, excited to start his life, made it into OU, and was a remarkable and charming young man. Of course, we know the news that went around about Toyin's passing, but stuff is not adding up. Stories have switched, different people are being blamed, and the timing of his death is being switched around too. Now, I know if I wanted to go looking for that on the social media front, I could get it, but I think that I'm relaying to you guys enough of the direction that they're looking in, and I'm trying to stick to known information that has been released about this case. But I do want to highlight reporting on this case light, seemingly delayed. There might be local publications that reported on this sooner at the time. Maybe I'm just not seeing them pop up in the sources here. But for the information I'm able to access, it seems like there's a little bit of an unnatural delay in the reporting of this. And now, news sources are kind of catching up a little bit. That being said, there's not a lot of in-depth investigation going on. It's really taking that police statement and kind of spitting out those details from one article to the next. But over here at KFOR.com, the family of an Oklahoma teenager who died at a party is now asking for anyone who has information about his death to come forward. As always, we have the information you need in the description box below. If you have info about what happened to Toyin that night, please be sure to call it in to authorities. Be sure that they can act on this. Amuda's family has released a statement. What we're experiencing is every parent's and every family's worst nightmare. We ask for space to grieve as we work to understand what happened to our beloved Toyin. We hope that those who have information about the events surrounding Toyin's death, even if you feel it's an unimportant detail, that you will choose to step up and speak out. Another thing I want to remind you guys about, if this is the type of party I'm imagining, underage drinking, who knows how many people there, is it going to be more difficult to get people to speak about what was going on? I think that's going to be true on a few levels. First of all, you're not going to want teenagers to say, yeah, I was completely blasted out of my mind at this house. On the other side of that, when you do have drinking like this going on, and possibly marijuana use as well, you've got memories that are impaired. You have delayed reaction time, them possibly not noticing that something could be going on. So in terms of maybe like shame being a factor in this, I think that could really limit people talking about what happened that night too. And I just hope that any of the people there will see their way through that to what's really more important. And that's Toyin's family having the truth and knowing what really happened that night. Because I can tell you this family is already going to struggle with the possibility of it being foul play versus being a tragic accident. And that's going to be a struggle that they might live with for a very, very long time. And if you're sitting out there and you have a piece of information to push that one way or the other, and you're not sending it in that direction, you're really helping them stay stuck in a very, very painful place. So I hope shame isn't a factor for people that might have attended the party, and I hope that they can see their way to getting that information in. Please honor our son by contacting the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Department with what you know so they can continue their investigation. We will never fully heal from this tragic loss, but we also know that we won't be able to move forward without the truth. We are grateful for all the prayers we're receiving for our family during this unimaginably difficult time. In return, we pray that no one ever has to experience what we're going through. Here is Toyin's family, and they have made a statement. That video runs about 8 or 9 minutes long. I'm going to have a link to that down below as well, but there are some quotes from it that I wanted to share with you guys. Every day that we wake up asking ourselves, is this real? Because we believe that this was 100% preventable, said Toyin Amuda's brother. We don't know what happened, but we're searching for answers, said Ade Amuda. We challenge all that may know to come forth and shed light on this preventable tragedy that happened to our brother Toyin. His image will not be altered. His spirit is not gone. We can feel it every day. So we just say that we love him, and we haven't said goodbye because we know that he's still with us. Once again, please, it'll be this link for the Oklahoman. I'll have it in a separate section. Please spend the time and come and watch this family talk about this young man. The day before I recorded today's video, a new batch of information has been released over at KFOR, July 19th, 2021. Monday, 22 pages of documents were released in the death of Toyin Amuda, found dead in the pool of a $1 million home after a party. That's a new detail. And I have seen over at the Instagram page, there is footage of a pool. I'm not 100% sure that it's the exact pool, but they do have that footage of the pool playing over the 911 call. So I kind of assume that it is correct. If that is correct, this pool isn't one that's like completely set in the ground. There's one side of it that actually has a raised edge on it. And it's just making me think about that possibility that, someone pushed him in or something like that. I mean, could he have been pushed in over that side with the raised edge? Yes. He's probably going to get his legs kind of hurt if that did happen. Of course, we don't have any of the autopsy information to confirm if something like that happened. I mean, if they find scrapes on his shin or on his calves, somewhere around there, that might actually support some information like that. But we don't have those types of details. But I do have one question for you. $1 million home, no working cameras? Cameras that are installed but not working for 2 years? Just a little strange. The new documents are search warrants for Amuda's car and cell phone. Investigators wanted to see if the items would provide any evidence related to Amuda's death or his possessing or consuming alcohol under the legal drinking age of 21. I'm kind of questioning. I just don't know. I don't know how helpful that information is in terms of proving something one way or the other. I think with the type of party that we've just heard about through these very limited details so far, I think you could probably fairly assume that there's going to be, well, and they have the autopsy report. They know exactly how intoxicated he was. So I'm kind of, I don't know exactly why they would want to check his phone for that type of information. I would say an investigator for a lawyer might be curious in that because they might be looking for evidence of who provided that or something, like if there's a wrongful death suit, something along those lines. But for a criminal investigation, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what that angle is. If you guys have some feedback on that, please put it down in the comments down below. New details were also given on the party that occurred before Amuda's death. When investigators first arrived on scene, they were told the homeowner's daughter was hosting a birthday party for one of her friends with her parents' permission. So clearly, we know that this is a birthday party not for anyone living there, but for a friend of the daughter. Those interviewed on scene said there was no alcohol at the party and no one saw anyone bring alcohol to the party. So seems to me like some of the statements we're getting already questionable. We're pretty confident there's alcohol at the party. If you have 2 trash bins that are filled with, empty beer cans and bottles, and beer cans and at least one bottle found still in the backyard. Investigators learned there were about 25 to 35 people attending the party, and none of the attendees were 21 years of age. So we've got, at the best, we've got young adults, and we don't know the age range here. We know he's 18, but in any instance, we've certainly got underage drinking that's going on here. More people than I was kind of imagining, I guess, through the earlier reports, 25 to 35 people. And once again, just kind of highlights that question about, is anyone seeing anything? As I've looked a little bit into this case, I've come to understand that drownings aren't always very loud. There's different things that can happen where effectively a lot of the sound gets muffled. And keep in mind, if there is really drinking going on at this party, then we've got everyone's senses could be dulled as well. On the other side of that, 25 to 35 people, young adults at a party, also means 25 to 35 additional cameras. Where's that information? How is that being reviewed? How is that being processed? Also, if we have young adults here and it is dipping below the age of 18, at least in terms of the information that's going to come out through the media, it's going to get screened pretty heavily because if they're not adults, we get into a whole different, when it comes to what the media can report on, it's just a different level in terms of the legality of it. It also notes 3 adults over the age of 21 were present on the premises. I would have to imagine you have the homeowner, possibly the homeowner's wife, and then someone else. I don't know if it was another one of their children or someone else staying in the family. Witnesses described the consumption of alcohol and marijuana by partygoers, including Toyin. According to the documents, Amuda was also seen carrying a beer can during the party. Now, I think we just have to temper some of this information because we've got some witnesses saying there's no alcohol at the party. No one saw or brought any alcohol to the party. And then we've got other witnesses saying, well, yeah, Toyin was seen carrying a beer. There was alcohol at the party. There was marijuana at the party. Unfortunately, when we look into cases of this type where we've got young adults kind of in this age range, the witness statements seem to become somewhat unreliable. There's some cases I've looked into where, and you're seeing it here, just completely conflicting statements. Which one do you go with? So I just really want to put a word of caution out there about these kind of confirmations about, oh no, we saw him, he was carrying a beer. One witness stated that he arrived at the party early before the sun had set, and there was an abundance of alcoholic beverages on the various tables near the swimming pool. Those beverages included Jell-O shots and beer. Now, I just did a quick search. It looks like in Oklahoma for June 2021, that sunset can happen somewhere in like the 8:30 to 8:45 p.m. range. So a pretty late sunset. That being said, we've got the 911 call happening like in the 2 a.m. hour. And the way this guy's describing it, that party was in full effect, alcohol fully kicking in that kind of 8:30 to 8:45 range. He's saying before the sun had set, so it could have even been a little earlier than that. Details from the medical examiner were also listed that said Toyin's stomach was enlarged and contained a pale yellow liquid indicative of alcohol. I don't know why they just didn't come forward with an official toxicology result there. Maybe they're still running that and it's not ready yet. EMSA also noted a strong smell of alcohol on Toyin's person. It's also reported that Toyin did not know how to swim. His outer clothes were found nearby and they were not wet. So looking at this theory of, someone pushed him into the pool, well, for some reason, it seems like, and by outer clothes, do they just mean jacket? Do they mean more than that? I wish we had better descriptions here. We're working with what we got. But it does seem like there might have been some level of planning for Toyin to maybe go into the pool. Maybe it wasn't that. Maybe he wanted to hang out by the pool, sit in, a chaise lounge or something, and not necessarily go into the water, but, didn't want to be in his full getup. And I mean, who knows? There's certainly different factors, but it really seems to me like the information from this statement is trying to counter a little bit of what's happening in the social media space on this. Investigators noted it is probable in an intoxicated state he decided to enter the swimming pool or fell into the swimming pool. Once again, I get that you guys want to make that argument. I just don't know why it's happening without a straight up BAC. Just tell us what his blood alcohol content was. It was also learned that Amuda left the party, then returned, but it's unknown where he went or what he did during this time. Investigators requested a search warrant for Amuda's cell phone. They're saying, however, the family and or their legal counsel has since decided against cooperating with this agreement. Really not sure what's happening around that. Investigators were able to search Amuda's car and reported no material evidence was recovered from the vehicle. There's something else in those comments that's just kind of grabbing at me a little bit. We've already talked about the size of the party, 25 to 35 people. You got one witness, and admittedly, I said witness statements can be tough in this age range, but one witness that says I showed up before sunset, beer cans everywhere, all over all the tables. What happened when first responders showed up and, the investigation starts and all that? They find 2 beer cans and a bottle, a plastic vodka bottle. And then later the homeowner calls out and says, hey, I also found a roach out here. But the trash cans are filled with beer cans. Did someone clean up? Like, think about a party with 25 to 35, 18 to 20-year-olds. I remember having parties in that age range, and not necessarily anything to do with alcohol, but getting people to clean up after themselves, nearly impossible. Like the whole next day, I'd be cleaning my house. So how does all that happen? It's grabbed my brain a little bit, And I just wanted to share that with you guys. Maybe there was already a cleanup effort that had happened. Maybe they didn't notice that Toyin was in the pool while someone ran around and kind of cleaned all this up. Maybe there was some type of directive put out by someone that was hosting the party. Hey, make sure my parents don't see this. Don't leave your cans around. It's kind of weird because the witness statement seems to conflict that if the witness is saying, I showed up and there was, cans all over the place. It's a little, seems like 2 cans in a bottle are found based on what the investigator said. And I'm having a little trouble with that. So like I said earlier, there is important conversations to happen around this case one way or the other. If this is really a tragic accident, we need to understand that better too, so that we can have conversations with our children and avoid something like this. Over here at stopalcoholabuse.gov, they've got some stats, particularly for Oklahoma. And check this out. Ages 15 to 17, past month alcohol use for this sample set. 17%, 17.6% of your 15 to 17-year-olds in this area have used alcohol within the past month. Now look what happens to that number when we hit the next age bracket, ages 18 to 20, which we don't have a ton of information. I'm kind of assuming this is the age range of this party. But who knows, maybe it even skewed a little younger, or it certainly didn't skew older because they were very clear about the attendees being under 21. Past month of alcohol use in percentage, 39.9. Almost 40% of your 18 to 20-year-olds have used alcohol within the past month in Oklahoma in particular. Now, is this a particular risk factor when we're talking about water safety? Here at healthychildren.org, while childhood drowning risk decreases after age 4, so apparently ages 1 through 4 are one of the highest risk for drownings, it actually goes up again during a child's teen years, even among strong swimmers. Adolescents, 15 to 19 years old, have the second highest fatal drowning rate of any age group. Only toddlers have a higher risk. Why does the drowning risk rise for teens? Teens are more likely to overestimate their skills and underestimate dangerous situations. Drinking and drowning dangers. It's one of the 2 conditions that they list here. The risks of substance abuse become a bigger factor during adolescence. About 2/3 of students have tried alcohol by 12th grade, for example. Research shows alcohol is a leading risk factor in drownings. Drinking alcohol while swimming or boating is a major cause of 30 to 70% of recreational water deaths among U.S. adolescents. That is, first of all, it's a wide range, but regardless of where it actually lands in that 30 to 70%, it's still a significant big cut. And that's a very, very big factor. How do you kind of mitigate these risks with your children? They've got some of the obvious stuff. Make sure everyone learns how to swim. Continue to supervise. It saves lives. I think that's going to become an important factor, possibly in this case rolling forward. I'm going to tell you why in just a moment. Teach your teen to always enter the water for the first time feet first. Choose natural water swimming spots carefully. We don't really have those factors here, I think. Wear life jackets when boating. Stay sober on the water. Talk to your teen about how alcohol and drugs make being in or on the water more dangerous. Alcohol use while boating increases drowning risks among passengers as well as boat operators. Explain that alcohol interferes with swimming skills, balance, coordination, and judgment, and can increase the risk of hypothermia in the water. Adults should also avoid alcohol while supervising children or before swimming, boating, or water skiing. Hundreds of teens, including some who are good swimmers, drown each year in the U.S., but these tragedies are preventable. It's the same statement that his family was making, that this was preventable. And I think either way you look at it, if you do think that there is some type of foul play component, obviously that would be preventable. Even if you don't believe that and think this is a tragic accident, isn't there some aspect of that that could have been preventable as well? You know, we trust other families when our kids go and spend time in their homes. And there's some other information and aspects to that as well. Over here at drugfree.org, Liability laws make parents responsible for underage drinking in their home. Parents who allow their teens to have friends over to drink, thinking it's a safe way to keep them off the roads, may be surprised to find they are subject to liability laws that make them vulnerable to lawsuits, fines, and even jail time. Parents in some states can be liable even if they are not aware that drinking was going on in their home, according to the Associated Press. One Stanford University professor was arrested in November after his 17-year-old son had a party in the basement. The professor, Bill Burnett, said he had forbidden alcohol at the party and had twice checked on the teens. So it's not just a matter of your intent with, hey, you guys, no drinking, okay? Bill Burnett even went down, checked on him twice, didn't see anything that was going on. Obviously, it was going on, and he was held responsible for that. There is a law in Oklahoma. It's called the Social Host Law. And it's effectively, a social host is any person who provides the location for people under 21 to drink alcohol. Property owners are accountable. Accountability goes beyond the party. A social host can be a minor or an adult and does not have to be physically present or the actual property owner. So with these kind of conditions, this social host law could apply to, yes, the homeowner, possibly the homeowner's wife, but certainly if his daughter facilitated the party, looks like this could actually be applied to her as well, despite the fact she might have been a minor. I don't think we know her age. Fines are immediate. They're talking about a first-time violation of $500. Honestly, to see that they have a law like this and then to see that the fines are kind of weak, in my opinion, I'm kind of surprised by it. I would think that they would probably want to amp this stuff up if they really want to try to route this out. Adults and minors are accountable. And here they specifically touch on if someone is injured or killed because of a social host violation, you could be charged with a felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison and a fine of up to $2,500. Repeat offenders can go to prison. So if it's something that keeps happening at the house time and time again, that can also become a problem for these social hosts. The sad reality is no criminal charges, no wrongful death lawsuit, none of that is going to bring Toyin home. There's a family that is having to learn a new reality without their loved one and trying to find answers. And in some of these cases, the answers might be really, really hard to understand or might never really come their way. So I just really wanted to share this story with you guys. There's an aspect I want us to learn from it. I want us to honor Toyin. If you have children out there, maybe it's time to have that conversation with them. But on top of that, I also wanted to hopefully draw some more support for the family. So once again, I hope that anyone out there with information will do the right thing and step up and help this family. Our hearts go out to you guys. Take care, everyone. I'll see you again on Friday.